Russia's aggression continues to cause security concerns in the Baltic states. Russia's threat to global security in the foreseeable future is driving the Baltic states to new actions. The Baltic states are developing their own combat skills and preparing to play an important role in the ongoing defense of the region and deterring enemy aggression. To this end, the Baltic states are coming together to strengthen NATO's eastern borders. Most recently, 3 Baltic states decided to build a defense system on the border with Russia and Belarus. Drawing lessons from Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania have signed an agreement to build joint defense fortifications along the 450-mile border they share with Russia and Belarus. According to local Estonian news, 600 concrete defense structures will be placed along the defense line, and the cost of the defense line is estimated at 60 million euros. So how will the construction of a joint defense line consisting of 600 concrete structures along a 450-mile border affect the balance of power and strategic calculations in the region, especially in the face of Russia's aggressive stance? The statement on the agreement does not provide many details about the specific locations of the fortifications or construction timelines, but there is an important graphic of what the fortifications might look like. It shows a model for T-shaped trenches with a reinforced bunker that can be closed for concealment. While the announcement of the plan is vague on the details, it highlights some information on how it could work. The concrete structures and bunkers along the defensive line are designed to protect soldiers from enemy fire and shrapnel, and must also withstand direct hits from 152mm caliber rounds. The fortifications are designed to allow the army to fire defensively. With a capacity of 10 soldiers, the bunkers are 30 to 35 square meters in size and include sleeping quarters. The last time such bunkers and defense lines were built in Europe was during the Second World War and the Cold War. By its very nature, the Baltic Defense Zone is a complex of preventive and field security measures, the elements of which support the activities of the defense units at their basing points in the terrain in order to stop the attack of aggression units if necessary. Accordingly, the defenses are distributed on the terrain, taking into account the results of the analysis of the enemy and the environment and the combat plan of the units of the defense forces. The Baltic states are one of the areas of operation, and therefore the defense facilities are being built jointly in coordination with Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. According to a statement by the Estonian Defense Ministry, the purpose of the agreement signed in Riga, Latvia, is to provide deterrence and, if necessary, protection against the military threat posed by Russia. Estonian Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur said that the construction of anti-mobility defense facilities is a carefully thought-out project, and the need for this project is due to the current security situation. Pevkur added that Russia's war in Ukraine has shown that in addition to equipment, ammunition and manpower, physical defense facilities on the border are also needed to defend Estonia from the first meter. Minister of Defense Hanno Pevkur went on to say that they are making this effort so that the Estonian people can feel safe, and that they will be ready for various developments faster in case the slightest risk arises. It is stated that the defense facilities to be established by these 3 countries are an important step in preventing military conflict in the region. Alongside the call for joint defense fortifications, the 3 defense ministers signed the so-called M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket Systems, or HIMARS Multiple Rocket Launcher Declaration of Intent Agreement, which aims to establish a framework for the joint use of the weapon. The system will be in place both in peacetime and wartime. The value of strong defense lines was clearly demonstrated during the counteroffensive launched by Ukraine last summer. As we have often reported, it was largely disintegrated by massive layered defenses and fortifications that included trenches, anti-tank ditches, so-called dragon's teeth, and thousands of mines. The plan requires flexibility before any conflict breaks out. According to the statement, in peacetime, no explosives, no cutting wire or other obstacles are placed in the protection zone, but a network of support points and distribution lines is being set up. These plans will also be realized in cooperation with local communities and in agreement with landowners. The US Department of Defense has also made important assessments about the deterrent measures taken by the Baltic states against Russian threats. In particular, the Pentagon focused on the defense fortifications approved by the joint decision of the 3 Baltic states. The Pentagon reported that it supports the Baltics' joint defense efforts. According to Pentagon spokesperson Major Charles Dietz, as always, the department is strongly considering the moves by Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania to tighten their defense cooperation. Dietz also said that the Baltic states are very interested in these latest developments because of the ongoing debate about their global positioning and how important it is for them to have an open dialogue with the United States and other allies. Pentagon spokesman Major Charles Dietz is sensitive to the fact that they need to help keep the whole NATO alliance safe. And one of the most important aspects of that protection is the continued presence of the Joint Air Force in the Baltics. For this, Estonia and Latvia have also signed a cooperation agreement to run NATO air security from Latvia's Lielvārda airbase, while the runway at Amare airbase is being repaired. The agreement is crucial for NATO members to provide air policing to the Baltic states, which do not have their own aircraft to carry out these attacks. The war zone has reached the military of defense of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, and will provide additional details on this plan if provided. The announcement of this plan comes against the background of concerns expressed the other day by German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius that Russia could attack a NATO member in the next 5 to 8 years. Speaking to the German broadcaster, Boris Pistorius said in an interview published the previous day that they hear threats from the Kremlin almost every day. That is why they have to take into account that Vladimir Putin could one day use his military might to attack even a NATO country, he said. Even though a Russian attack is unlikely for the time being, the German defense minister is paying a lot of attention to the issue. All these deterrence measures and efforts against the Russian threat in the Baltics are a harsh reaction to what we have seen in Ukraine over the last year. At every opportunity, the West emphasizes that Baltic security is very important. That's why a top-down, rotational presence should be maintained here, and that the security situation in the region remains sensitive. Because Russia poses a threat not only to Ukraine, but also to the security of the whole of Europe. In this context, joint security cooperation between the countries has recently been strengthening. The Baltic states will develop their own combat skills and play an important role in the ongoing defense of the region and in deterring enemy aggression. This strategy is also perfectly in line with what NATO and the United States are aiming for. In particular, the idea that the three countries in the Baltics are working together to build anti-mobility fortifications against a potential Russian threat, a situation in which World War I-like fortifications have become widely prevalent. The joint NATO Air Force missions and air defense measures in the Baltics are also a serious intimidation to Russia. In fact, all these factors are seen as the toughest wall against Russian leader Vladimir Putin before the election. In the coming days, we will see how the policies of NATO and regional actors will affect Vladimir Putin in the seat of power in Russia.